Hello, good evening. You guys might notice I've got a new look going, and I've got a guest as well. I have a different background. If you're a long time viewer of the program, um, my wife says that I've gone from looking like Odin to looking like Thor, and I'm like, those are both very handsome gods. So I really approve that. My name is Dr. Astar Bear. I'm a professor of economics and a teacher of meditation. I do this live stream class every week to teach you the basics of heart rhythm meditation. This is a method of meditation that comes out of Sufism in the lineage of Hazrat Inayat Khan. And tonight I have a very special guest, Leah Schaefer, who
Hello.
has been a friend of mine for many years and has studied and taught meditation for a long time. And as you'll see, is really very good at it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here with each of you. And I'm just looking forward to being able to meditate with Asatar because I don't even know how long it's been since we've seen each other, but we met each other through heart rhythm meditation like a decade ago. And so it's really wonderful just to be with him.
And of course, I begged her to watch the live stream, but she's refused. So this is literally the only way I can get her to watch
it. You got to get your followers anywhere you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Just have to go for it.
Well, let's start with a meditation. We want to talk in this class about the forward dimension of the heart. The heart has different qualities, and it can be helpful to think about those qualities in terms of spatial dimensions, because that's we live in these three dimensions and whatever. And so the heart has different dimensions. It has a height and it has a depth, and it has a breadth to it, and it has an inner dimension, and it also has a forward dimension. And we just really felt that a lot of people are needing to move forward after this time of quarantine, and a lot of us being alone. That now that's starting to kind of lift, and maybe it's time to think about how do we move forward, and what does that mean?
Yeah.
So let's just start by taking a good upright posture. We want to have our back straight, but we want to be as relaxed as we can within that structure. So one of the things I always check on is my head and body like too far forward. I'm often like I'm too far forward. So you want to be in line, right? You have your sits bones, your spine in line with that, your head in line with that. For me, that often means just kind of tucking my chin a little bit. If you feel a little bit of strain on the back of your neck, it probably means you're kind of doing that, right? So try and bring yourself in line so that you can be upright, energized, and yet, using the minimal amount of muscular tension. You need some, otherwise you'll, sort of collapse. So you do need to keep some, muscular tension, keep yourself upright. You don't want to be doing more than that, right? You want to be able to be still. And you can have your hands either palm up or palm down as you like. And we'll want to really tune into the breath and focus on the breath. And the first intervention that we want to do with the breath is to make sure that the breath is deep in the belly, diaphragmatic breathing. And so it can often be helpful to just place a hand on your belly as you breathe. And just feel your belly rising and falling. It sends a signal to our bodies and minds. It's a physiological response. It moves the breathing from the chest, this is called thoracic breathing, down to the belly, which is often very armored. We keep this tight, right? We don't want to let our bellies expand because, then we look fat. Um, but but when you do that, you relax. And meditation, in order to really open yourself to experiencing the infinite, you need to relax. You need to let go of your preconceived ideas and limitations and judgments, and all this stuff holds us back, right? Um, so part of that is just letting that belly expand. And you might notice that having your hand on your belly as you breathe can be very soothing. Now, we also want to make the breath slow. So, as you're breathing, extend your exhalation and extend your inhalation, and make your breathing cycle slower than it normally is. That might be happening already because it's a very, it's a natural response, right? Um, when you're still and quiet and someone's talking to you in a soothing voice, it's natural for your breath to be slower. So we're just going with this. Now you also want your breath to be rhythmic, and you want your breath to be heart centered. So let's place a hand or even both hands on your heart. And you notice that if you do this, you're really directing energy to your heart, right? And what do we mean by heart? We mean your physical heart organ, yes, but we also mean the center of your feelings, your values, what matters to you, what you care about, what you love, who you are, right? Your heart center, your heart chakra. This is an energetic aspect, a container of your soul and spirit, which is infinite and unbounded. So that's a good thing to tune into when you meditate, right? And we're going to do that in the context of the breath, in the context of making our breath rhythmic and centered on the heart. So to do that, we're going to tune in to the physical heartbeat. And this might be a little bit of a challenge. You might have a hard time locating that. And that's why having either your palm or even your fingertips on your breastbone can be helpful, because by lightly pressing the fingertips, you might start to feel that pulse in your hand. Now, if you feel your heartbeat in your fingertips, if you feel it somewhere else in your body, that's perfectly fine, right? Don't worry about it. All we want the timing of that beat, and we want to breathe the same number of beats in as we breathe out. All right. Um, Now, if you're finding the hand uncomfortable, if it's not necessary, you can also bring it down. Um, but you might try experimenting with it, because it really helps bring the energy, bring the focus. All right. So let's try this out a little bit, making a breath deep, slow, rhythmic, and heart centered. Now, the final ingredient that we could add is to make the breath full. And that involves squeezing your abdominal muscles as you breathe out, breathing out more than you normally do, a lot more. And then allowing your belly to expand and allowing your chest to expand, the sides of your, expand everything, right? You take a really big breath, and yet we want this breath to be refined. We want it to be smooth. We want it to be even. We don't want it to be jagged or interrupted. We want a big, smooth, slow, powerful breath. This is going to take some training to achieve, right? But try it out. Take a couple of breaths and see if you can do a really full breath, okay? While keeping all of the other elements in place, right? Deep, slow, rhythmic, heart-centered, all of this. Um, and you can challenge yourself by taking a longer count. So maybe you started with 6 beats in, 6 beats out. Try a little bit longer. Or you could work within a given count and just work the breath more diligently, right? Breathe more during those 6 beats. Or maybe you try 8 beats. Maybe you even try 10, right? So it's about really challenging yourself to breathe fully. Breathing fully is living fully, right? So let's take a couple of breaths and just really work on that. That's very good. I feel you all out there doing this. Maybe different from what you've done before with meditation. Um, what I've found, I've done lots of different kinds of meditation for many, many years. Um, and this is the one this is like my base, the when you really develop the power and the subtlety both of the breath, it's just extraordinary. It's an extraordinary tool to have. Um, so let's end this session here, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the philosophical aspects of what we're doing.
Mm, thank you. Um, would you like me to
Yeah,
start a bit?
go
Okay.
ahead.
Um, so Asatar gave me a call last week and asked if I wanted to come here, and he's like, I wing most of these.
I didn't realize all my process would be revealed on here.
And I was like, yeah, but we should probably pick a theme. And so, because otherwise, I would get a little bit lost. And so, we talked about it, and we came to doing the forward dimension of the heart. And that one in particular is something that I've really needed this year and continue to really, really need. There are so many different aspects of it that you can go into, so many like minutia and details that you can go into. So the details that we'll go into today, they're just like a small portion of what you can actually do by energizing this dimension. So the dimension is the forward dimension of the heart, but we'll explain this while we meditate. But basically, you're going to inhale into the back of your heart, right between the shoulder blades. And then as you exhale, you're going to exhale forward from the heart. And when you do this, like everything is very much embodied, like you're trying to actually feel that space in the back of your heart, and you're trying to actually feel your heart as you exhale the energy of your heart forward. So, and when you do this, one of the things that can really be affected is your ability to move forward. So we have different aspects of ourself, and basically, I feel like most of us on a daily basis, what we really want to do is express our truest sense of self. And this can be helped through this practice because you're energizing the internal light of your being, and you're helping to bring that forward. And what you are moving towards or to, maybe it's a self-expression of some part of you that you really want to bring out. Or maybe it's some accomplishment or some goal that you want to get to, and it feels more external, but it's somewhere that you're going and headed toward. By doing these practices, the breath can really, really help you to overcome any internal obstacles that are keeping you from those desires and goals, and those forms of self-expression, like those truest sense of self-expression. And so, yeah, one of these readings that I came across this year from Hazrat Naik Khan, he has this book of complete sayings, and I look to his writings often. One of his sayings talks about when a desire becomes a steady thought, success is assured. And I was like, are you sure? Because like, I really wanted this one thing to work out and it didn't. I thought about it a lot. And so
meditation is supposed to be the secret that allows you to do whatever, right?
I have the keys to the universe. I don't know. What's the deal?
They're sticking in the lock, though.
Yeah. Just this is the deal I made, you know. I'm going to be a meditation teacher. I need to have the keys to everything.
Yeah. And have everything perfect in your life, perfect. Of course.
Perfection. And so, but what I came to understand later was that the desire itself was still alive. So like, even though it didn't work out with that particular individual or that particular circumstance, that the desire is still alive inside of me. And so the things that don't quite meet the mark of your internal desire, they're probably stepping stones towards it. And it's like, didn't quite fit. And like, you just keep on moving forward toward that desire or that expression of self.
Yeah, well said. You know, we have a lot of kind of preconceived ideas about what is spiritual, right? And what is, you know, like, oh, we're going to meditate now. And, ooh, right. I mean, there's a certain, you know, that has a certain cultural space. And, you know, a lot of that is very down on desires and goals, you know, like it's not seen as spiritual to have goals or to have desires, you know. I mean, one of the big things that spiritual people say, I know a lot of them, you know, is I'm not attached to that. It's a kind of a point of pride, you know, I'm not attached to that. How interesting. You have to be attached to something to live on earth, you know. And so you might want to think about, what is that, right? What are you attached to?
Yeah.
What do you desire, you know? And when you tune into your heart, you are going to come in touch with your desires. And that's not always going to be that comfortable, you know, because it really raises the question like, well, what are you doing about that right now? You know, if that's what really matters to you, how hard have you been working on it? You know, how much energy have you been, you know, how much focus have you been giving that? It can be hard to come in touch with your desires because it just naturally raises that question, you know, what's the plan, you know?
Mm.
And a lot of times we don't want to even let ourselves know what our desires are, because it's hard to be like held accountable to yourself, to your highest self.
Yeah, you can get scared.
Oh my God, it's terrifying. Yeah. You can, but it unleashes your power in a way that you won't have if you go around pretending you don't want anything and aren't attached to anything. I first of all think that's not true, you know, and secondly, I think you cut off a lot of your power because, you know, it's desires of power, you know. I mean, it's
and there's different types of desires.
Yeah.
You know, like when I talk about desire, I'm very much talking about my deeper desires of my heart, like what I want deeply inside myself in the core of my being. Yeah.
Well, you're a very deep person. I mean, that that's one of the things we want. I mean, it's like meditation is a process and a destination both, right? I mean, because we go through this process and we get to know ourselves, you know. I mean, it's a self-discovery, journey of self-knowledge. So part of that is, what do I value? What do I want, right? what do I want more, right? This or this. I mean, and those are hard things. They don't just, you know, to thine own self be true, right? But that's easy to say and hard to do. I did not mean for that to rhyme like that.
Extra points.
But yeah.
Mm. So, um,
Would you like to do the
guided
meditation?
meditation? Sure. Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. I really appreciate everything you said.
You too.
Um, all right, I feel very energized already. Okay, so I'm a yogini. So I always like to move a little bit. So maybe if you're here with us or if you're watching the recording, move a little bit. You know, listen to your body. What do you need? Forward folds are awesome. You'll notice Asatar and I are sitting in chairs. You can very easily forward fold by just extending your legs out and then just letting yourself fold forward. Those are great for us who have to sit in desks for long periods of time. And I like to do like a little side stretch. I'm in a little bit tight quarters of muscle here, but side stretch. But yeah, and get the shoulders going. Okay, because you're asking your body to stay still for a period of time. And so you want to always honor your body and yourself. So, and then as you're ready, go ahead and close your eyes. And just let yourself settle into your posture. Like Asatar led us earlier, seeing if you can kind of stack the bones in a way that makes them optimal toward relaxing all the muscles, because the muscles don't have to work as hard. And coming into your deep rhythmic breathing. Now you're more than welcome to stay here, seeing as this is an introductory class. Just know that anything I say, you take what you want, and you keep with your own heart, keep with your own breath. And you can go as far as you like, or just stay at any given instruction or anything you're finding inside. So I'm going to ask you to come into what's called fire breath to start with. And what that means is that you're going to inhale through a slightly opened up mouth. And then you're going to exhale out your nose. And so inhaling into the mouth and exhaling out your nose. If this is your first time trying this, it might feel somewhat uncomfortable. So you can always switch back to nose breathing if it's really uncomfortable for you, but give it a try. And it's really barely open. Your mouth is just barely open when you're sipping the air in. And I like to always think of a dragon whenever I do that. So just getting used to that again, deep diaphragmatic breathing, just like before, rhythmic breathing. Inhaling in the mouth and exhaling out the nose. Good. Now stay with that, or I'm going to give you another instruction to add on. And that would be while you inhale through your mouth, imagine that your breath, and try to feel your breath as a stream of energy coming right into the back of your heart. And take a moment at the top of your inhalation to just feel your heart and feel your heart center. And then as you exhale out your nose, exhale from your heart forward. So as you inhale in your mouth, feel your breath coming into the back of your heart. Connect with your heart for a moment. And then as you exhale out your nose, exhale from your heart. Exhale your heart's energy forward as far as it'll go. Allow yourself to settle into that sensation of what it's like to receive energy into the back of your heart. To feel your heart center, and then to send the energy from your heart center forward as far as you can go. A lot of times when we're on our path, we can really be very forward focused, especially in the American culture. There's a lot of forward focus energy. And so maybe the exhalation of the focus forward, that might be energized for you. But I find that oftentimes, even for somebody that this type of energy is very natural for, that we forget about the back support. We forget about all of the people, all of the love, and all of the energy that wants to support the deepest desire of your heart, the fulfillment of that which you most earnestly wish for and want. We all need sustenance, and that sustenance can come in the form of light, inspiration. It can come in the form of love or reassurance. Whatever it is, as you are making your way, whatever it is that you need at this moment, I want to invite you to inhale that energy into the back of your heart. It's not something that you need to earn. It's just something that you need to breathe in. That you need to allow. If you think of all of the history that's happened to create this moment in time, to create you, there's an extraordinary force working toward this constant evolution of ourselves and of humanity. And you can feel that momentum wanting to live and work through you. And then shifting your focus to your heart itself, maybe just taking a moment to ask your heart, what is it that you really want? And then I dare you to actually ask for it. As you exhale out your nose, see if you can face your future. See if you can face everything that's in front of you. And as you exhale, allowing yourself to exhale the wish, the desire, and the light of your own heart, of your own being. Putting that energy forward, regardless of whatever you're facing. Standing tall and letting your light shine. Holding steady the desire of your heart. And how your light wishes to express itself through you. All right, and then bringing this meditation to a close. Thank your body for sitting. Move however you need to move.
Thank you. I think you can see why I invited Leah to the class, because she's so good. And just the connection that's there. Um, it's good to think about our desires as an energy, not as it, uh, it might not be fully formed, it might not, it's an impulse that might be refined, you might want it to be refined. Um, like for example, one I think about a lot is, um, you know, for almost all of us, I mean, unless you're fantastically rich, right? For almost all of us, there's a certain lack of safety in this world, right? I mean, if you don't earn enough money, um, really bad things happen, right? I mean, so like we all have a somewhat of a desire to not have that, kind of
Right.
destitution occur, right? But what is the desire? Is the desire to be safe? Is the desire to achieve something? Is the desire to, um, like if you say, well, I'd like to have more money. Okay, great place to start, right? But it might not be a great place to finish.
Mm,
It's something that you want to take in, and your heart will refine it, right? I mean, when you don't listen very well, you get a blunt signal, like an alarm or something. Like
mm.
stop what you're doing. That's not real. That doesn't really matter to you. Um, but if you really listen, then it'll get clearer and clearer and more refined. And that's good, right? Because the clearer the target is, the better shot you have at hitting it.
Mm.
Um, so that's part of what we want to do, right? First thing is just to tap into this, this incredible flow of desire, this energy, and also to realize that it's larger than ourselves.
Mm.
One of the things that you did so well in that meditation is just really, focus on like there. There's a desire that's coming through us. There is the desire of the universe that wishes to manifest, that wishes
Right.
to become real, that wishes to see us develop our potential, right? That's why we have so much longing inside ourselves, right? I mean, we don't
Yeah.
like standing still. We like that development. We like to see movement. Uh, so when you experience that, right, making that real to you and alive to you, um, that just takes this this energy. Like we all have this, like you said, it's part of the culture.
Mm.
Um, but to connect that to the world of spirit and to what matters deeply to you, right? That takes it to just a whole nother place, right? Because
Yeah.
if some other person or everybody says do this, okay, you have a certain amount of energy, right? But if it's really coming from deep inside you, that is just so much more powerful. And that's the point of doing this kind of meditation, so that you can tap into that, feel that, and be alive to that.
Yeah. Well said. Mm.
Should I say more, or do you want to say some stuff?
Um, no, I just really appreciate everything you said. And yeah, I'm like, let's keep meditating. But
All right. Well, I guess that's what
we got to manifest this stuff
we
that's
do.
inside of us.
We do.
And
Yeah.
it does take a lot of energy. Like that's the thing is like, you know, to somebody that like has a true desire, failure really doesn't matter. And I mean, it's painful. Like failure can be maybe not to Asatar Bear because he's good at that.
It's unbelievably painful.
Okay, good. Not just me. Like
Uh,
so it's painful. Failure is painful, but it doesn't mean anything really. You just keep going forward. Like you really use it as a way of learning more. And continuing toward that trajectory. Like if you were a natural at the thing that you're going for, or if it was just given to you, then you wouldn't have a desire for it because it would already be attained. So, it does take when something's meaningful. Like who was it that said it's it was John F. Kennedy that was like, we're not doing it, to go to the moon. Like we're not doing it because it's easy. We're doing it because it's hard.
hmm.
Like we are purposefully doing this work because it is difficult. And that's the same thing with something that's like really burning inside of you, is that it is hard to do. And so be encouraged. Don't be discouraged. Like let yourself add the failures to the fire. Like let that be even more fuel for you to keep going.
We don't hope you fail. I mean, we
No.
hope you nail it on the
No.
very first attempt.
Yeah.
But that doesn't always happen, right? Even if you have tremendous natural talent, because our longing is such, right? Our desire is such that we want to go further than what we're capable of. I mean, that is human nature, right? I mean, like even if you're very, very good at something, you're not going to stay satisfied at that level, right? I mean, you're going to want to push further. So, that does raise the possibility of failure. Like when you're working close to your
Yeah.
capacity, you never set out for that, but it's very true that it can spur you on, right? I mean, it's a thing you have to deal with. If that happens, it's hard. It's no. I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's not easy, like the business people sometimes say, like fail early and fail often. Like I'm like, don't fail at all. If you can avoid it, avoid it. Right?
Yeah.
Succeed
Just
immediately.
succeed
I
away.
would. That's what I would recommend. But you can't always, right?
Just
So
yeah.
you you go on and and it can make you stronger, right? Because if you have never overcome something really difficult, I mean, you know, then it's coming soon. That's all I can say. Right? It's coming soon. You will have to do that at some point. So
Yeah.
that's
Well, and but it is very much true that like a lot of times you learn what you need to learn in order to continue the progress toward, even though it is painful. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, so it's helpful to think about, in past classes I've talked about what do you come to meditation with? What is your need? What is your desire? I'm encouraging you to think about that, um, and tune into that, and to be in that, right? Even though it might be uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to be with your desires because by definition you haven't achieved them yet, right?
Mm.
You are, by being in touch with that, you're being in touch with a kind of a lack, or you're being in touch with or I like the Sufi word better, longing. You're in
Mhm.
touch with a longing.
Yeah.
It's like what it is you're going towards is like your beloved. You're not with your beloved, right? And you want to be,
Yeah.
and that's hard. It's hard, but that's all part of it, right? I mean, longing is a fundamental human
Yeah.
kind of condition, because we are infinite. That's our reality as beings, and yet we're in this limited world. We have, we're in these limited bodies, and yet we need to be here, right?
Yeah.
Because this is where we have we have physical, tangible reality, right? That gives us a lot more than if we were just unlimited spirit, right? So even though that's on some level who we are, we're also this stuff, right? We're
Mhm.
also the limited.
Mhm.
So we can't really understand ourselves, not really, right? Unless we understand both the limited part, which we're pretty in touch with. That's very clear to us. If you haven't, then try failing at something. You'll see, right? But we're not in touch with that unlimited side, right? That level
Mm.
of being, and that changes everything to come in contact with that, right?
Mm.
So that's what we're suggesting with this, that you energize your forward dimension as a path to discovery for yourself, right?
Yeah.
What is it that you are longing for? What is it that
Yeah.
you love? What is it that you desire? Because following that and achieving that is just so key to your unfoldment and your development.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it can be fun, just just whoop, that didn't go well. It's okay. So,
It's
that
okay to
was
fail.
fun. It was fun. No, but we would be so bored, We'd be so bored and useless if it was all just handed over.
I love that you think that I never fail at anything, and if I do, it doesn't bother me.
Oh God. I remember, so from my time when we used to work together, I remember you had this like journal and you would like write down how much like weight that you lifted like
Uh-huh.
each day.
That's important.
I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God. Like, never have I ever, but the memory has stayed with me. And so I feel like failure for you is like not an option. It's just, just don't go there.
I don't want to wreck that beautiful image that we have.
Yeah,
So I
that's
don't.
a
I
good
won't
idea.
say any further.
Cool.
Uh,
Cool.
I, I went to a jujitsu class today. It's the thing I do, and I rolled with somebody who was very good, but a lot smaller than me. And this is somebody that I thought, oh, I'm going to easily tap this person, and the opposite of that happened, right? And I've been pissed about that all day. That because
It was
I
fun.
just, yeah, it was a fun failure. Well, they say you're either going to win or learn something, and so I learned something. And would I have learned that if I had, not been tapped out? I mean, I would have just been like, well, I'm just as awesome as I thought, right? But I mean, now I learned like, okay, there's a certain weakness in my game. Oh, I should have done this, right? I mean, now, so it's often the case, right, that we learn a lot more from our failures than we do from our successes. And um, I still wish you succeed right the first time, but it's that's not always the way it goes. And maybe that's for the best. You know, uh,
Either way, just be brave. Onward.
it takes a lot of courage to
Mm.
be honest about what your desires are, right? To be
Yeah.
clear with what your desires are. I mean, there's a part of us that wants to say, "We'll just see how it goes," and never, lay your cards on the table, and never say like, "This is what I want."
Yeah. Like
Uh,
sometimes you just like hold it so close, like you
yeah,
don't even want anybody to know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the things people sometimes say, like, you know, you have a goal, tell someone what it is as a measure of accountability, right? Now it's out there. Now you have to do it. And, you know, I'm not going to say this is always a good idea, right? It depends. Sometimes
Mm.
there's a development period where you need to be
In the
secretive.
in the comments section, you can write to Asatar about what your goals are. Write to us. I'll read them too.
If you want.
About what your goals are. You would like some accountability.
Yeah. I mean, put it out on the internet, right?
That'll do
Where
it.
all your friends are. Well, they're always kind.
That'll do, do it.
Well, should we do another meditation? All
Definitely.
right. So take your upright posture again, or
Mhm.
you know, do what you need to do to get get yourself ready
Mhm.
to sit still. See, this is the nice thing about taking a live stream class, right? You guys can do whatever you want. You're in your own homes,
We don't
or
know what you're
you're
doing.
in the Costco parking lot, or wherever you're meditating, right? You're not going to disturb us by doing some stretching. So, um, and then once you're ready, right, you get yourself in line, sit with your upright posture, tune into your breathing, use your breath to energize your heart. Breathing in and just taking in the love and support, the energy that is continuously flowing into you. And just you feel that as if it's a warm, supportive hand on your back. And then as you exhale, you're bringing the breath forward. And you're creating this flow of energy that enters your heart from the back and radiates from your heart in the front like a stream, like a mighty river. Like a river of light that is just pouring through you. And it both is you and is not you. Because it is, after all, so much bigger than you. I mean, the whole universe wants to see you succeed, wants to see you move forward, wants to see you develop. It's like an acorn longs to grow into a mighty oak tree. Look at how much desire, how much there is an impetus for growth and development everywhere you look in the universe. It's in us, it's in everything. So we're just becoming aware of that using the power of the breath. But also we are unique. We are special, you know. We there is has never been another being who's just like you. So our privilege is to be able to take this incredible universal energy and then direct it in a certain way. And that's where our personal desires, that's where our individuality as a unique being, that's where that comes in. That is in fact vitally necessary. So we honor our desires. We honor that as a way that we tap in the universal desire, the universal longing. And also that it is our privilege to be able to guide and direct energy in the way that we think would be good. So we don't proceed by saying, oh, don't desire things. And if you just desire things, then you'll be suffering and so on. I mean, let me admit that that is true, actually, right? Having a desire will bring with it some difficulty. There's no question about that. So that is, I'm not going to say that uh, ancient teaching is wrong. I'm just saying we are here, right? We are here and we have desires. There's a reason for those desires. And of course, we want to work with them. We want to refine them. We want to be in that flow by making your breath deep and slow and rhythmic and heart centered and full. All of these aspects of optimal breathing, of the practice of heart rhythm meditation, you give yourself a tremendous boost in terms of, first of all, perceiving this energy, and secondly, working with it, refining it, developing it, experiencing it, understanding it, using it. Can you achieve your desires only through meditation? Well, probably not, right? You're probably going to need to do the external steps, whatever they are, whatever the thing you're working on is, it's going to have steps to it and a path of development. We're not saying that the only way to achieve things is to meditate, not at all, right? Only that it can be helpful, it can be clarifying, it can give you insight, it can give you understanding, it can give you power, it can lift you up when you feel down, when you feel hopeless. All right, let's end our session there.
Mm,
Move around a bit and
that was lovely. Thank you.
you know the we talk a lot in our school about the old kind of spirituality, the monastic kind, the kind that where you go away from the world in order to go to the mountaintop to achieve enlightenment. Um, and perhaps we do that to a certain extent in meditation. We go deep within ourselves, and it's a place of solitude. And um, there's a reason why we're in this world. We're here to do something, to be something. Um, what is it for you? I don't know, right? I mean, I barely know what it is for myself, But what I know is that it's been helpful, very helpful to me to have something that allows me to, you know, work with and understand and explore um, these energies, right? Because the energies of your heart, desires, are incredibly powerful, and they're often incredibly confusing as well.
Yeah,
Right?
extremely powerful.
Yeah. So we need some way of working with that, and we want to also just recognize it's a process, right? Um, that what you get in meditation is sometimes not to be applied literally, right? It's about the feeling of it, the vibe of it. Um, did you want to say something?
Um, yeah, like a lot of these, in my experience, a lot of my practices work very mysteriously. So sometimes when you're doing one of these practices, you will feel. I really always encourage you to feel as much as you can inside your body, emotion, energy, even like physical response. You want to really embody and feel what's happening in your body because it's not separate. These are not separate things. Sometimes you can use these practices to really work through what you're feeling. So really breathing through the emotion, and sometimes you can actually feel, the obstacle unwinding itself with your own breath, like in real time. Like sometimes you can actually feel it. And those are always just amazing openings and transformative for you and me and everybody. And but sometimes, more often than not, I would say you don't really understand exactly what's happening. It's all part of the subconscious. It's all very much underneath the surface. It's the undercurrent of things, and then all of a sudden it's like like something happens, or a lot of things happen, or you get a call from Asatar, you know, anything. So. Um, just that is one of the things to is just to trust the process as well. Mhm.
Yeah, and we might have hit you with a lot this session. I don't know. I mean, if you want more of a step by step, whole course in meditation, I do offer that on my Patreon page. So if you want to check that out, the link is in the description. Um, Meditation is a skill. It's not something that you can necessarily instantly do, right? You might not be able to follow all the steps, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's a process like anything. Um, and it's one that unfolds. You develop it, and if anything comes up, if you ever have a question, please drop a comment, send me a message on Twitter. We would love to help with that, because it can be very confusing, and there are things
Mm.
that can happen that are hard to understand, and that's part
Yeah.
of why we talk in addition to doing the
Mhm.
meditation, in the hopes of trying to create something that helps make sense of something that's very difficult to make sense of.
Yeah, and your meditation practice will be unique to you as well. So like you'll have different sensations than I will or Asatar will.
Yeah,
And I did actually write out the directions on how to do the forward dimension of the heart on my Instagram, which is also in the notes or in the description. If you wanted like a written version of it, that's available as well.
you all should follow Leah on Instagram. That's a good idea. Well, thank you so much for
No,
coming and being on the
thank
class, and
you. Thank
and
you.
to all of you for joining us.
Yeah.
We're here every week. I don't always have Leah with me, unfortunately, but it's a
No, thank
special
you
week here.
thank you everyone for joining us, really. It was really wonderful. And thank you, Asatar.
Absolutely.